icon.
It had your head. That's what I'm saying. Oh, now
Yeah.
it is live.
Hello, we're live. Sweet.
Yeah, when you don't get to just test it, it just goes.
Yeah, you can switch to my face. Hello, everybody. We're gonna be
Make sure
doing
this is
the 3 methods live stream. I'm gonna be talking about the 3 different portrait methods that people kind of throw around all the time. You got the Reilly rhythms, which are these. Actually, you want to just throw it up on there? Oh no.
Yeah, I can.
Put it.
Here you go.
Yeah, thank you. Reilly rhythms. That's these guys.
Yep. There we go.
Those are Reilly rhythms. You see, they're basically like they're connections of anatomical parts on the face. You don't see these lines on the face, but they do connect things that you do see. And I'll kind of go through some of them. And then the Loomis method, which I've covered extensively. It's kind of my go-to of when I start a drawing, and try to bring it to a quick 3-dimensional block in. And then after that, the Asaro head, which is this guy. This is the Asaro head. And these are planes. So we're starting with the rhythms, which are very flat, 2-dimensional. Not completely, because you can draw rhythms that are like around, cross contours or rhythms, things like that. It can be 3-dimensional, but rhythms are the most 2-dimensional of those 3 methods. Then we go to Loomis, which is like a very simplified version of 3D. And then you get to these planes, which are more detailed planes, smaller, high fidelity planes. Not high fidelity, they're still low, right? This is a low poly head. And then after that, you start shading and you get as many details and anatomy as you want. But I think a lot of people talk about them as like, do you do this one or this one? Or this one? Which one is it? And it's like it's all of them. You study all of them so that when you do your drawing, you could use whichever method at whatever moment for whatever part of the drawing you're at. They all come together, and you can borrow elements however you want. You can combine them in your own way, the way that makes sense to you, to start your drawing and to continue your drawing. And they're just tools there to help you place the figure on the page, or the portrait on the page. They're literally just tools. So I'm going to start with the Reilly rhythms.
These here?
Yes, that's them. And I'm going to do a quick sketch. So I have a bunch of photos picked out for today. For this one, I'm gonna pick like an older. Why is it not working?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, by the way, these are a few of my drawings where I kind of combine stuff. A lot of Loomis in there, you can see, and then there's planar stuff. There's a lot of rhythms. You definitely could see a lot of Loomis in this one. It's like a Loomis head. But definitely rhythms throughout in the more detailed stuff that are not in Loomis. All right, why does it go to the end? That's weird.
We're speedrunning reference right now.
Yeah, let's get. I like her for rhythms because you could see them. Problem with let's say you do her, a lot of the rhythms depend on anatomical landmarks in order to see those lines, or even just the connections between things. And she's so soft, you can't see very many things. And so if I'm talking about, the jowls, what, where, right? You can't see that stuff. So it's a lot easier to teach it with an older person that has a lot of that stuff starting to peek through.
Sid, I just did want to bring up in here at the start of this, for the people who are watching this on YouTube, the main place that we're going to be pulling questions from will be over on Proko. And we have a pinned comment in that chat that mentions that. So you guys can head over that way if you want to.
How do I zoom in?
Like, don't get me wrong, I'll still be seeing your guys' questions and comments and everything in case you guys have any issues, and some general light questions, but we'll still try to do a little bit to prioritize the ones on Proko. Just for this one, we're just testing some stuff out.
John, you can switch to my drawing.
All right. I don't know why John was the person.
Which of you is John? Are you guys both here? Neither. Okay. No one's here. All right. So we got almost a straight on, which is kind of what I wanted, because typically, well, no, never mind. It actually, the angle doesn't matter at all. You can use the Reilly rhythms in any angle for pretty much anything you draw. But this one specifically I like because it's kind of an oval shape, and an oval is kind of, it's a rhythm. I know it's a simple shape, but you can think about it as a rhythm, which I guess I should define. It's a line that connects elements together. Oh, why is this? There. So you could have a rhythm that connects the brows, or you can have a line, which is this oval is a line that connects all of the kind of the outer elements of the contour, right? It's a very simplified representation of what we're seeing. And then you have a rhythm connecting all the midpoints across the face, right? This is a rhythm. I don't see that line, but if you look at the middle of the eyebrow, the middle of the nose, the lips, the chin, and you connect all those areas with a line, it creates this rhythm between them. It's curved. That's why it's important, is because I'm capturing the relationship between those points with this curved line. It's not straight. It's not curved the other way. And it's not over here. It's over here. This tells me a lot. And in the same way that I'm connecting these points, I can connect all the other points. Even if I don't literally see a line, I can still represent something with this kind of abstract curve or straight line. So let's say there's the hairline, and then let's get a chin in there just for my own. Able to judge proportions. And then, like I said, the brow ridge, if you look at the eyebrows, you can get this rhythm that goes up from one peak of the eyebrow to the other peak. And then you can see on the sides of the brows, it turns down, and you can even connect that with a little rhythm like that. Same thing with the bottom of the eye socket. You can continue that eyebrow down across the bottom over to the other side. And the benefit of using rhythm, or one benefit of using rhythms like this on something that's symmetrical, is that you're constantly thinking about the symmetry, and you're drawing a rhythm that connects them from one side to the other. And that's important because it keeps your people from looking, cross-eyed, or it helps to keep them from looking cross-eyed. But it just makes you actually consider the three-dimensionality of this thing, of this head that you're drawing. Because you're saying that it turns over this rounded front plane. Okay, and actually I'm gonna definitely have to drop that chin. My original rhythm was my original oval was very short. And that's another great thing about rhythms, is they're very easy to fix if you need to.
So pretty soon here, Stan, I wanted to ask about where the source of this reference is, like who this came from.
Ah, man, I don't know. It's on Proko.
Yeah.
The pack, I believe, was called like Wisdom, Faces of Wisdom. Like,
okay, I'll find out then.
Or elderly or something. I don't. I don't know. We have several model pack providers, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which one this is. It doesn't have a watermark on it, unfortunately.
Okay, no, yeah, this so this one does look like this is from Graphite or Graphite.
Okay.
I don't know how to say that. So yeah, this is the 1400, 1400 plus faces of wisdom, and right now it's currently on sale for $11.20 USD because there's a summer sale going on in Proko.
Okay. Okay, so here's another thing. So the side plane. Let's see if I can. I wonder, Steven, you have the Reilly rhythm. Chart.
Do you want me to bring it up as a separate window?
Yeah. Can you just bring it up as like an overlay that we could drag around?
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to keep switching reference on my screen, and because then I don't see the photo.
I got you.
So the side plane, just like this side rhythm was there, and you could see it. It's the same rhythm that the Loomis head uses, or the same kind of chopped side plane that the Loomis head uses. Right in here on the side, there's several rhythms. One from the ear, from the top of the ear. Reilly kind of says, just go straight, kind of keep that ear curving down into the chin, which is really nice. You see that? Down that corner of the cheekbone. And you can see like right through here. Oh, you can't see my face. Right through here, you can see that rhythm on her. If on a younger face, you won't, right? That's why I'm choosing this, because it's all there. It's just that like on a younger face, it's hidden by just like really, really soft, I guess baby fat, right? It's like a very soft layer of fat. The skin hasn't it hasn't developed those characteristics that are all there. They're super subtle.
So am I able to stand? I haven't had to put in stuff for overlays. Am I able to resize these assets?
Not yet. No.
Okay. I'm going to take this off for right now, and then I will bring it back just a touch smaller in a way that
you can. Sure. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
You can even bring them both as like separate images if you want, the side and the front.
Okay.
On this side, you could find a rhythm from the forehead and then ignore that cheekbone bump and then ignore the jowl. And you can kind of start seeing a rhythm from the forehead into the chin. Like that. I don't know why I'm drawing it so dark, but it's there. And that's probably what you would see for like a younger face. Like this jowl wouldn't be there. Or it's the back of the jaw, actually. Sorry, that's not the jowl. I don't know why I said jaw. Looking closer, that's actually the back of her jaw. And then the cheekbone. You can just kind of continue this rhythm of the eyebrows. Bring it in. And you don't even need to connect rhythms of things that are like related to each other. You could say, oh, from the cheekbone here, I actually see a curve this way. Well, two curves. So this cheekbone here is the bone. And that goes over to the other side, and you see a little bone at the top right here. And then there's another one, which is more of the soft, I guess, mostly just fat and skin right here. And that's this one. You can see it even better on this side. So you can connect these to making sure that they're symmetrical as well. I should zoom in. There you go. Sorry, guys. And Steven, if they have questions related to exactly what I'm doing at the moment, please let me know. So
Absolutely. I was just sorting out the diagram.
Yeah.
I have a much smaller one in here. So hopefully that helps you guys. All right. Now I'm able to.
Oh, wow. That is tiny. Does that help at all? That's.
I mean, the alternative is this giant guy.
I think that's better. I could just
You
shift
want the giant one? Okay.
Here, and then just move it over.
All right. I'll leave the big one up right now then.
Yeah, just move it over to the right. There you go. Cool. So do you guys see this cheekbone up here? This part is very subtle. The separation between the bone at the top and the softer cushion underneath. But you can kind of start seeing if you look within in here. You see kind of like a little separation in here, and this part looks very soft. Whereas in here, it feels like a harder bone. And then obviously the contour on the right side really reveals it because you get a very clear separation of those two forms with the contours. And then I didn't add the jaw yet, but that is more like this. So that could be another. You can think of that.
If you want some questions, some of these we've already gone past a little bit. Mm-hmm. Do you want some of these though to address?
Sure. If it's a slightly different angle or of what I said already, that's fine.
So Willie O'Art asked, how does he judge the difference of each plane compared to the center line?
Just off of eyeballing it. I mean, I'm looking for clues with rhythms of connections and stuff. But as far as like, how did I know to place this line here versus up here? Just by looking at it, I'm eyeballing it. You got to train your eye to be able to get it close enough. You can always adjust. Like you saw, I adjusted the chin. I didn't get it right on my first try, but I noticed it while I was going and I moved it down and I adjusted. Like that's totally fine.
Willie, I'm going to post a video here in the chat for you about some measuring techniques from Proko.
Yeah. Measure. There's two ways of approaching it. You can measure the hell out of it. Just everything is like using the tip of your pencil to measure. And then there's also, you just eyeball it and you just train your brain to just be able to throw it down in the right spot. Both are valid. And in the beginning, you want to eyeball more, not just to get it more accurate because your eye isn't accurate yet in the beginning, but also to kind of check yourself. You maybe eyeball a few lines and then you measure and you see if you got it right. And that gives you feedback so that you don't need an instructor to give you feedback because you can just like use your pencil to measure and see if you eyeballed it correctly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'm going back to the questions that are on Proko, the place where I'm going to prioritize some of the question polling from. So this was a person asking, besides achieving a symmetrical face, what are the other reasons for using the abstraction?
Finding connection between elements, the relationships between things. You know, the relationship between this cheekbone and this cheekbone. So that's kind of proportionate, but it's also about shape design too. Like you have to design this shape in a way that makes sense in relationship to this shape, not just on its own around these elements. Because a lot of times, and I've fallen for this a lot, is you go in and you start rendering this area and you start drawing this cheek and then you're like, okay, this is done. And I go to this side and I start drawing. And then you like, oh crap, I drew not just the proportions are wrong, but also just like those cheekbones are completely a different shape. Like I've just chosen different design language for them. And it makes no sense. But if you think of them as a connected thing, then you're better able to keep the drawing cohesive, like everything relates to each other. And also rhythms help the viewer's eye flow through your drawing. Like if everything is just like a bunch of static shapes and then you just like place them and they're just like locking in but there's no flow through them, it can be a boring drawing. Not always. Like that could also be a design language, but rhythms generally are a pretty good thing for composition and tracking people's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, again, it's a tool. It's just a tool. You're the artist. You choose if you want rhythms going through and flowing through. But if you say no, you should probably have a good reason why you are not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't just be like, oh, it's my choice. Like, well, yeah, but why do you want that?
We'll be getting into this, I think, over the course of this stream. But Pixel Art Journey on Proko was asking, so is it possible to start with the Loomis head and then lay the Reilly rhythms on top?
Absolutely. But actually, I would probably start with a few Reilly rhythms of like a big envelope, and then a Loomis head on top of that. And I'll show you guys. I will show you each, and then I'll show you a combination of how I would approach combining them all. But actually, let me get the rest of the middle of the face in. It's like not even close to what it actually is. There's a nice rhythm flowing down the middle of the bridge of the nose. Like so. You can have a little rhythm going up from one nostril to the other side. And I'm drawing these rhythms really kind of way darker than I typically would in a drawing, just so you guys can see them. This is not going to be a finished drawing. This is more of like showing you what a drawing that is like rhythms on steroids would look like. Like if I'm just like forcing myself to draw only rhythms, and not just the rhythms that I think are super helpful for me to have on the page, but just like, here's this. And then in here, you got the eye, kind of an eyeball, really. I could even just connect all of those shapes to represent a ball underneath.
Stan, so there's a feature on the Proko livestream tool where we can bring someone in who has a question. Do you want to do any of that for this one?
Sure, we could try.
Okay, because we would have a returning guest possibly, because there's a question from Tomoki-san in here who's asking if you were learning Reilly, Loomis, and Asaro, but you keep reverting to your old way of drawing portraits. How do you transition to a new method without drawing the old way? If you want to talk about that, maybe we could talk about that directly.
I mean, sure. I don't mind.
Okay. You let me know if you'd be up for that, Tomoki.
But I mean, it's hard if you have habits, like those are hard to break. But one way of doing it is setting a timer so that you have a goal, like let's say 10 minutes, and you're like, I'm only gonna do this specific thing. And after 10 minutes, if you realize, oh, I didn't do it, I just completely ignored my goal, then you set another timer for 10 minutes and you keep going until you actually do the thing that you're trying to do. I mean, eventually you're going to say, okay, stop it, brain. Don't draw that circle in the beginning. Instead, start with rhythms. Like it's not that hard. I think it's where you start drawing for, a few hours. It's like within there, you're just going to get into the zone. And then the zone is where your habits start just coming out. And hopefully those are good habits. And then getting into the zone is a good thing.
I will say, I think we're gonna talk about his question with him possibly. So I'll leave it up to him. He's responding a little bit here. So I'm going back through the questions. I want to have a way for us to mark the questions that have been answered. the going back in tabs.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So we've already answered where the references came from and some other things. Carlos Javier Rusoto asked, can you give a quick example of how to apply these methods to a mask helmet, like the Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, Iron Man?
Not really.
I think
I'm not going to do that right now.
The one thing I would say is they don't actually need to take them and apply them to those helmets. Because, correct me if I'm wrong here, Stan, but
what?
The Iron Man helmet is basically one of these diagrams.
Kind
Just-
of, yeah. I mean,
Just slightly
listen,
simplified.
there's rhythms in everything. Like, okay, you bring glass. You say glasses,
Okay.
right? You could say there's a rhythm between. Oh, get them in a way that you guys can see that. So this is a complicated shape, but if you look at the outside here, you can keep that going and it'll connect to the outside here, and there's a rhythm, and then you can get the rhythm on the inside of here, and then you can get this rhythm across the end, and then try to make it symmetrical on the other side.
Will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Will you put those sunglasses over the drawing, like the drawing is wearing them?
A little
Thank you
too
so
big.
much. I just needed it to happen because it was right there.
But then also, like, if these glasses are on someone's head, there, like, you could find a rhythm of them wrapping around the head first, and then you can find the box, right? Because they are kind of a front plane and two side planes.
Mm-hmm.
But you can start with just an oval, right? Like how I just started with an oval for the head. It's clearly not an oval, but it's like kind of an oval. Like if I was to put a very simple curve, that would be it. You could also make a box out of that, right? You could say that, well, it's not an oval. Instead, it's something like this. Oh, she's turned that way. It's a box. Maybe a little wider. But generally, there's the box of that head. Or it's an oval, right? So that's the difference between like Asaro and Loomis, and then just rhythms. I'm more focused on the connections between things with very simple curves. But anyway, there you go. You get something that can look actually kind of 3D without really thinking of perspective. I didn't think of perspective. Instead, I thought of things maybe wrapping around, right? Like this brow ridge was wrapping around. These cheekbones, I was thinking about them, how they would wrap around the top down here. So yeah, that's my Reilly demo, I guess. Any last questions before I move on to Loomis? And I'm not gonna spend too much on Loomis because
I'm gonna solo you on screen. I'm gonna ask a couple questions here.
Perfect, and I will prepare my surface.
Wonderful. Okay. So here, what does Stan think about Morgan Weissing's assertion that having these formulas in our head can get in the way of accurate drawing, at least at the beginning? How would one use them later in the process? As he really did make that clear in his excellent course, which is on sale for 20% off. But yeah, how do you feel about a person saying that these would get in the way?
They could get in the way if all you're thinking about is rhythms and not proportions. Then yeah, absolutely. You could get so into the rhythm mindset that all you have are these like curvy swooping lines, but none of them are in the right spot. Yeah, you could totally do that. Or you could train for many years to combine proportions and rhythms and planes and Loomis and all that stuff together. And eventually you can combine them all in a way that is stronger than each individual one. But yeah, for beginners, like any one tool or technique, when you focus on it, you kind of can sacrifice all the other things because your brain is focused on one thing, and it's hard for you to juggle all of these concepts, right? When you start learning anatomy of the body, you start drawing a lot of muscles and bones, and you can sacrifice gesture. Typically, that's, well, I would say like 9 times out of 10 in my anatomy course, students, they submit an assignment and the gesture was gone. It was just muscles that had no gesture. There were snowmen, like just bloop, bloop, like curves. Because they couldn't think of multiple things at the same time. It's very difficult. These are hard concepts to think about one of them. But then to draw the muscles that you're trying to learn and make them gestural and think about the perspective of them, like, and maybe even think about how the light is hitting all those forms. Like that's just too much. So I agree with him. Yeah, you could sacrifice proportions. Or how did he put it?
So I don't know if this is a direct quote of Morgan, but the way that they state it for him is Morgan Weissing's assertion that having these formulas in our head can get in the way of accurate drawing, at least
accurate. Okay, yeah. Okay, so accurate, I'm assuming, is proportions. But I guess accuracy could also be like accuracy of value. So yeah, if you're going for pure accuracy, I agree. Like this, who cares about rhythms? Just like start measuring, spend 3 hours measuring, making sure it's accurate.
Yeah, I think this is kind of
100% accuracy. So
this kind of comes down to the way that people talk about technique in general, like where it's you trot out the technique or method that you need for the task at hand, and the task at hand can change whether you're at the beginning of the process or the end of the process, or if you're just doing something that's supposed to be a study. Maybe you're just doing a value study, you know, and so things just have to look vaguely in place. But if you're going to make something that's going to take you 70 hours, you know, then go ahead, try out the most like technical methods, look for rhythms, bounce back and forth between them, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know the context of which Morgan was saying that. I think I have heard him say that before, but I forget what he was trying to teach at that moment. I don't think I agree that like it's not all just about accuracy. But it is important to understand that, like, yeah, if you're thinking about some concept that is not about proportion, it could guide you away from proportion. Like things.
I think what Morgan was trying to say was that no one should take Stan Prokopenko's courses, and they should only take Morgan Weissing's courses.
Yeah, if you want to welcome.
The good news here is that they're all 20% off from Proko right now.
Go get Morgan's course. It's a really good opening course.
All right. So
Morgan was one of my biggest inspirations when I was learning oil paint. So I'm not disagreeing with that. You can go back to the drawing.
And take this. You want your reference up as well?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what we've done so far is you discussed the idea of the Reilly rhythms, and now you are going to go into.
This is going to be Loomis.
Okay. And the purpose, for anyone who's joining right now, what is the purpose of going through these three methods? What's for this particular exercise?
These are three methods that are thrown around a lot in portrait drawing educational spaces. And a lot of people think that you have to choose one or the other, and it's like, which one's better? But I think the correct way to do this is to learn all of them and then borrow what you need from each in order to get a good drawing. And also it depends on how they each connect with you and your way of doing things. Because everybody does have a preference in the way they work. Some people are very methodical. They like math and measuring and doing all that stuff. And some people are just super creative and they just want to start throwing stuff down, right? They do not want to think about that other kind of stuff. And so, various elements of these could vibe with you a little bit better. All right, so Loomis method always starts with a ball. I know it looks like a circle, but it's actually a ball. You just can't tell because it's on a piece of paper. And the ball represents the cranium of the head. I guess if I were to take the Asaro head for a second, the ball is, oh my, it's too zoomed in.
You're pretty zoomed in there.
I know. Sorry, I don't need to zoom out. It fits enough. So if you just delete this jaw right here, it's this whole cranial mass. It's the part that holds the brain. Let's just say that, right? And then in here, you remove the jaw, and it's a circle. But you do have to chop off right here the sides and create this flat plane that you guys see right here. So if I'm looking at her, go back to the reference. She has the side of her head about right here. It's where the forehead goes from the front to start then turning and going to the side. That's where that side plane begins. And that's where I draw this oval representing that side plane. And that oval is about 2/3 of the height of the whole circle. So you have to leave room above and below here. You don't try to fit it in all the way or make it really small. It actually does matter because you'll see from there, you have to go through the middle of this and draw kind of this rubber band. If you were to put a rubber band around that equator, what would it look like from this angle? And then the bottom of the oval, right? Now this is where the bottom of the oval actually matters. You draw that exact same curve again, and that gives you the middle of the nose, or sorry, the bottom of the nose. And then you take this distance, bring it down again, you get the chin. And then chop off a tiny bit of here because that's just how it would be. If you chopped off the other side, you would actually take off a little bit of that curvature. And then from there, you could draw, I guess, a rhythm, but not really, because in this case, we're thinking about the three-dimensional structure. You're drawing the side of this jaw and chin. And then in here, in the middle of the oval this way, is where we're going to find the back of the jaw connecting to the head, and then the bottom. And her chin, I guess, is a little bit wider and softer than I'm putting it, but it's okay. I'm not going for like perfect likeness. Let's just get these fundamentals in. But the Loomis head, that's another thing about the Loomis head, is that like everybody thinks that it's only like these average proportions because I'm saying like, yes, it's in the middle here, then from the bottom of this here. But it's like, well, what if her nose was really long or really short or whatever? It's like, yes, you can start squishing and stretching this as you get very comfortable with the Loomis method. You can start modifying it to fit the proportions of the person you're drawing. And I have a video doing exactly that. It's on YouTube for free. You can, I think it's either part 2 or part 3 of a series I did. If you just search like Loomis, Proko,
there's a whole playlist for this. I'll drop that.
I know, yeah. And then you'll see 3 videos in there have like a part 1, part 2, part 3. One of those parts, either part 2 or part 3, is me literally adjusting the proportion of the Loomis head to fit people that have very unique proportions. So if you want to see a demo just like focused on that, that's there. Today I'm not gonna like try to do that. Okay, and then the side of the head, you can keep it going and then bring it down to the bottom of the chin, and now you have front side of the jaw and the head, and then from the top of the oval you could kind of draw that same curve and you get the hairline. Again, everyone's hairline is different. So it's not always going to be this person's hairline, but typically an average hairline is going to be like right there. That gets you those thirds that you hear about a lot on from proportion lessons and stuff. You can also start, well, this is it. This is really it. I don't know why I'm going to keep going, but on top of this, then you could start doing other things. But this is the basic Loomis head. It gets you this like very, very simplified 3-dimensional structure that lets you imagine what the head is doing in space. So let's do another one. These are really quick. Like once you get good, you could do one of these in like 2 minutes. Let's do one that's a little more extreme. Oh, what? Ooh, that's extreme, huh? I think there's another one where it's really high up that I liked better. What? Oh, there it is. Yes, I like that one a lot. Okay.
Someone in the chat asked, "How long is this stream going to last?" Stan, we
2 hours.
yeah, so we are 40 minutes into it. So you got an hour and 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, so I did want to point out, so we're not asking a ton of questions because we're establishing some core principles for the discussion on this one, but I am storing them up.
Oh, but if they have questions about what I'm doing, please ask.
They haven't been asking a lot of direct ones in the moment.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
They're just here talking about other stuff.
No, I mean they'll ask questions about something, but a lot of times it's either they're on like a big delay, and so we've definitely moved on.
Oh, I see.
Or
okay, I've already covered it or something.
Yeah, like the ones that we've already covered is a harder one because I feel like I want to answer the question, but it's a backtrack.
Okay. All right. So this one, oh, actually, so I made a mistake just now. I'm seeing way more of the side plane than I drew, right? You can kind of see that I've turned that ball towards me way more than is actually there in the photo. So I need to draw the width of that oval much larger. Not the height. The height was 2/3. That's great. But the width, I want it to be like all the way out here. So let's get that oval to be a lot wider.
I will point out, Stan, so someone did mention in the chat, and appropriately so. Stan, this is the free reign angle. This is that anime thing that we didn't do a video on. This is the hardest angle. You guys want to fix your?
This is the hardest
reigns?
angle.
Yeah,
you guys, this is not a. It's just an extreme angle.
Joy, thank you to Tommy Pinedo in the chat for pointing this out.
Nice, guys. Well, this is only a hard angle for people that don't understand the Loomis head and the Asaro head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this is why you learn all of them. You know, if your approach is just starting to drop lines down, your brain is going to trick you. All right, so let's determine this angle in here, the one that's equivalent to this one that I drew here, right? This one is basically connecting the ear to the eyebrows. Look at how extreme up it is in this one.
Is that? I feel like it's a little lower than that. But I'm gonna follow you. I trust your eye more than I trust mine on this.
Yeah. Let's do it. And then it turns this way because I'm pretty much seeing the brows like as horizontal, right? It's going this way. Your brain is going to try to trick you to all sorts of crazy angles, but it's up and that way. And then you can do the same thing up and this way for the nose. And then you do that again and you get the jaw. But I'm noticing the camera's pretty close to her and there is actually foreshortening happening. So I'm going to make this bottom third a little bit longer and this top third even shorter. So you see how they get smaller as they go back? That's foreshortening. And then from here, I need to figure out where would the side plane be. It's right there. And then the jaw. So there's two things happening here. You have this corner of the jaw where we see the core shadow, but you also see the bottom of the jaw.
All right. There is one question here from Allison Reed. And Allison asked, how do you determine exactly where the front plane of the head transitions into the side? I feel like I have such a hard time picturing it because the head is rounded. Is there a very objective method to knowing it, or is it more of an interpretation?
Well, it's always an interpretation because everybody's head is different. So you do have to interpret it. And again, like all of these things are simplifications of reality. So we're not drawing literally what we're seeing, we are simplifying it. And anytime you simplify something, you have to interpret how to simplify it. But there are little things that I look for, like sometimes the corner of the eyebrow will give you the answer. Like you see where right around here the eyebrow starts to turn. Typically it's around that area. Like there's going to be a corner. Sometimes there's going to be a little highlight on the forehead that really really nicely shows you that, oh, it's starting to turn away. Like just by lighting on the photo on the form will reveal that there's a plane starting to change. What else? I guess that's about it. You got to look at the forehead, and the eyebrow is the most obvious, but sometimes somebody's eyebrow shape is going to be in a different spot, and you just sometimes can't trust that. So you have to look at everything. What do you think? Is it not going up enough?
I feel like it's going up enough. I wonder if the angle of the face is turned farther away from camera.
Like I've overcompensated.
Yeah,
like I first started this way too much, and then I went too far the other way. Maybe, yeah.
This is actually the strength. Yeah. So for anyone watching this, these are the strengths of these different methods because they give you those checks while you're making simple marks.
Exactly. Yeah. If I were to start drawing features without even having this 3D map, I wouldn't know that the face is turned too far until way later with way more detail in my drawing. But if I could figure that out now, like that's very useful because I could start making micro adjustments and like getting it closer to what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could fix that pretty quickly. Like I just need to adjust this a little bit.
There is one other question here that I think might play into this a little bit as well. I'll save it until after you do the correction that you're applying.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure and return to it.
Cool. I mean, that's pretty much it. And then I just adjust this oval.
This is perfect. So Carlos had asked about the Loomis head. How do you picture the correct ellipse for the side planes? Because the head is narrower on the front than on the back. And speaking of back.
Oh, Loomis head lips?
The ellipse.
Oh, the ellipse. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the head is narrower on the front than on the back. And speaking of back, how do you make sure you aren't missing the cerebral mass on the back?
Yeah, so what he's talking about is shoot,
the ball shape.
I did make this too fall. Sorry, hold on. Let me fix this first because I want to capture this extreme up angle. So I could just make that angle up more and show the bottom of the plane, and it's like we're looking up at it more.
Mm-hmm. Someone also asked in the chat earlier, this is a simple question, about whether you could use different techniques like this to draw anime style drawings, comic style drawings. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's these are all just these bases that you use and you modify it as necessary. They might have some slightly different proportions based on the genre hallmarks, but other than that, they still give you the angle of things, some general proportions, and the other guides that you want. You'll probably just modify them as you need. That's what you're going to do, even if you were doing painting versus drawing and things like that, Okay.
Hold on. Wait, what was the question? I don't want to move on to another one because there was a question I didn't answer.
Yeah, so there, that was the one that I brought in about the ellipse on the side of the head.
Yeah.
And so that was about the Loomis head. How do you picture the correct ellipse for the side planes?
Yeah. Okay. So that, I mean, I think that's close enough. It's an upward angle, and then the tip of the nose would be like really close to the eye. It's covering up most of the eye. And so you start thinking about, at this point, Asaro type stuff, which I'll get to later. But you know, that's where people get kind of thrown off in this pose. I think that's what makes it really difficult, is like the nose is not down here. It's up on the eye. Like, that's just how it is. It's a three-dimensional shape that will move based on which angle you're looking at it from. So there you go.
I do want to bring up, someone actually paid on YouTube for their comment to pop up. They paid $10. It's not a question. Yeah, they paid $10. They said, I've been taking your basics course and it's been transformative. It's amazing how well a course can transfer information when it's well done. Thank you. Can't wait to try other courses.
Wow.
Thank you, Kai.
They paid to promote my basics course?
Yeah, that's crazy. They paid to
Thank you.
interrupt so they could do my job. This is good. I like this.
All right. So back of the head. So if we look at the top, from top view, like we're looking down at a person, if you were to chop off the sides of the head, it would be like this, right? Where the forehead is narrower than the back of the head. I think this is what this person is talking about, right? And so I think what he's saying is like, well, how do you draw this ellipse so that you get that angle? My approach has been to not really think about it, because it's such a subtle effect when you're looking at like a 3D angle like this, that if you have reference in front of you, just find where it is, like find this point and then just draw it in, and it's gonna be correct. Because if I were to turn this oval this way or this way a few degrees, it's gonna be almost the same ellipse. Like your accuracy of drawing it is probably more different than the difference between this oval and this oval. And so, like, I usually just don't even consider it. Oh, sorry, I was pointing at stuff over here while you guys couldn't even see it.
So I was reading questions in here.
Yeah, so this ellipse, like, I just find this point on the forehead or the brows, and maybe the brow would be here a little bit farther back, but I just look for where that head is turning. And again, it's an interpretation, but you have to interpret it. And you just draw it, and then you adjust as you go through. You saw that on this drawing, I had to adjust a bunch because I did what I thought I interpreted was correct initially. Then I thought, nah, that's not close enough. I have to move it all the way over here. And then I drew it, and then I was like, wait, that's too far. So then I went back and I did something in between. So my interpretations were wrong twice in this one, but I was able to figure it out based on more data. As I started putting in more stuff, I was like, no, that doesn't look like the same angle as the photo. And so I had to move it back this way. Like, that's going to get you more accurate, I think, drawings if you're drawing from photos. Is if you try to use this volume and just put it all down and then adjust the three-dimensional forms. Then trying to imagine that really subtle angle of the ellipse changing in 3 dimensions, like, that is extremely difficult. Like, I think it would only confuse somebody who hasn't already mastered the Loomis head. So I would not recommend like trying to imagine that, really.
Okay. Stan, I will say, I don't think I'm going to bring up the reference image here again real quick. I don't think that you put the other details for the reference on that. If you don't mind, I think the earrings aren't in there and the hair's wrong.
So you want me to draw those ears on there? Is that what
okay. Yeah, let's make this one accurate.
Okay.
This is the Proko for your end angle.
Wait. Sorry, I've never drawn this character. God, tiny on my screen. Okay. I mean,
just let's put a little line on there, drop those earrings in, and I think you're probably good to go, right?
I
Nailed
think.
it.
Is that it?
I guess
I mean,
like
it's a different face. The nose is much bigger, but like,
absolutely.
you're right. It is the same angle.
But yeah, nailed it.
So let me see the bad drawing.
Oh, you want the bad for your angle? All right. Here.
Yeah.
All right.
I forgot what the mistakes were, and maybe I. I mean, it'd be
I'm just
nice
gonna bring it up as a screen
them out.
share real fast.
Okay.
On my end. Okay.
That's so funny. I did not know I picked that exact angle. That's like,
oh man. Okay, let me drop this in here and add my screen share. Goodness, so many steps. All right, so
come on.
This.
There. Oh yeah. Well, the neck is really the problem there. So, well, actually, I'm sorry. There's a lot of problems there. Wait, bring it back.
Oh, you want the bad one? Yeah.
The one that made it famous.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's two major issues. One of them I already brought up is that the nose, instead of thinking about how this nose is going up from this connection to the face instead of down, we're actually seeing more of the bottom plane of the nose than this bridge because of foreshortening. But who did it?
And the face proportions, since they didn't have like a front plane measurement.
Yeah, they just drew a nose, like a normal nose. They're like, yeah, nose. It's like, no, that's the nose if you're looking straight on. But if you're looking from the bottom, you're going to see a lot of this bottom stuff. So that's one, is they're not thinking three-dimensionally. They're thinking two-dimensional, like, symbols for features. An eye is a shape like this. A nose is a shape like this. You know, like those, that's not three-dimensional form. Those are just symbols. So that's going to get you in trouble a lot in any kind of angle that's not straight on, which these symbols are based on. The other thing is the jaw. You're seeing in the photo reference the bottom of the jaw and the chin jutting forward, and then this back plane over here, right? And then it connects to the neck. But they didn't do that. They brought the neck all the way out here, and so that was just an issue. So because you got to remember, again, three-dimensional form. So if I were to draw this as a box, it would look like this. And I'm just gonna have it go behind my Loomis head. All right, so that's a box representation. So if you want to imagine a head at that angle, look at how much you see of the bottom of it, right? And the jaw and chin are basically doing this exact thing right here. This is going up across the front of the chin, and then at the corner of the chin, it goes back again behind the neck. Back behind the neck. And then you can even attach a neck here if you want. Just put a cylinder. Right?
Yeah. And then you can stylize placement, proportion, angle, like different things to your style of choice in that situation.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is not style at all. This is literally just perspective. Like, I mean, there's no style attached to this concept.
All right. So now we've gone over Reilly. We've gone over Loomis a little bit. Now we need to cover Asaro, and then we'll combine them.
Yeah. So Asaro is all about the additional planes that you now put on top of all of this. And actually, I want to bring up. Let me see. You're logged? Oh yeah, you're obviously logged into Proko on here.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So during the free run talk, I didn't get to go through questions so much, but I'm going to go back through those now as he's going through the references.
Yeah, go ahead and ask me a question so I can talk about it while I pull up something.
Yeah. So there's a general question here from someone on the YouTube chat. They had asked, is it possible to maintain accurate facial features that resemble a particular person while using rhythms, or can we put the rhythms...
Sorry, start over. I'm sorry.
Basically, they're asking, is it possible to use rhythms to still maintain accurate facial features for the people that they're drawing from reference?
I mean, of course it's possible, but it depends on your ability to do so.
Yeah, so like these are baselines, you know, like you're going to modify them for the person, and that will apply to the features as well.
Yeah.
All right. I have one other one.
I mean, I'm sorry that like it's just the answer to that is literally like proportions take time. You have to practice them. You have to develop your eye to see proportions correctly. And I think that getting proportions correct while doing rhythms is the same as getting proportions correct while shading. You know, if you start with a more tonal approach, you're gonna have the same issue. You're thinking about values and edges and light while you also have to put things down in the right spot. And that just depends on how much have you trained your brain to be able to do that intuitively while thinking about something else. And that's important. That intuition is really important to train, because eventually you want to get to the point where you're creating art, right? Like you don't want to be stuck in this academic zone where you're like, ooh, gotta get my proportions right. Like, wait, that's not creative expression. That's like studying for a test. So, you know what I mean? The whole point of the academic approach is it trains you to be able to not think about this stuff anymore, and then just like draw what you want to draw and think about the story behind it. What's my composition? Like, how is the user gonna like experience my drawing or painting? Not like, is the nose in the right spot? So I mean, that's the goal, but yeah, it takes a long time to get there. Yeah.
For those people out there who are fans of Freeren, you watch these characters learn things over time. It takes time to get good. All right.
Oh yeah, is that part of the story?
Yeah, the whole thing is the passage of time and the things that you gain along the way and stuff like that. It's very meditative. All right.
I'm gonna try to add another.
Dude, all right. So on YouTube, this guy just asked, when was the last time you used traditional tools and not a tablet? And I said, on this stream.
Me? You talking about me?
Yeah.
I'm using it
like right now. Did you just tune in?
Wait, but why was that?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Oh, are they just generally asking?
Like... Well, I said right now, and they said why always use tablets during these? This is.
Oh, I guess
there was a pencil.
This is not a tablet. This is I have a screen share for my reference, so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Because like I prefer to draw and paint from a monitor instead of a printed thing, because it's like a second degradation of the reference. If first you take a photo of something and you lose part of reality, and then if you print it out, you lose part of that even more. Like actually even more so than just looking at a screen. So I just prefer to draw from monitors. Also, it's super convenient because I can just click around and I got like thousands of photos right here. So maybe you're just confusing seeing my screen.
Maybe.
Whatever. Who cares? I'm drawing on a charcoal right now. So show this one.
It was just like this whole stream. So you want to use this tool here. You want to have a 3D model rather than using the
I just want to show
Asaro head.
Here, you control the screens.
Yeah.
Put Devin's 3D model up.
And then lose the screen share of the art reference from before. All right. So there's a side by side with your paper, and then the 3D model of the Asaro head there.
So this is not the Asaro head. This is actually a slightly different version of the same concept. So if you compare these, it's very close, but you can see how on this side, the Asaro head actually has a lot more information of the cheekbones. He's got an eye. He's got a lot of information in a lot of the smaller planes of the nose anatomy in here. like the cartilage connections, the little indent for the nostril. Whereas Devin's, I'll even zoom in for you guys. It's pretty much the left side of this. You got left side is simple. Actually, not even, because the Asaro has the eyeball on the left side. Devin removed that completely and to just make it even simpler. So I would say Devin's is like a step before this one.
I see.
But the whole reason I'm showing this even is that like the Asaro head is one interpretation of the planes of the head. These are also interpretations. These are simplifications of any head. And also, both of these are actually kind of like the same, I think, like the same person. Everybody's planes are going to be different. So it's more about the concept that you need to understand, not these literal planes. But learning these first will help you draw a lot of people. Like most like I would say young, I guess men. I think this is a man, but I think it's kind of like an average. Probably I would say, yeah, young man. You'll be able to draw more people than if you learn some very specific person.
Sure.
So there is a benefit to learning like an average, because then you kind of have a thing in your head, and when you draw somebody specific, you can immediately detect like, oh, this person's different from what I have in my head as the average in these 7 ways, and you can start changing those things from your memory of an average. So I'm going to draw from Devin's version purely because
where do we find this?
It's easier. Oh, let me see if
also there's one.
It's called Top or wait, sorry.
And this is on Proko.
Plain Head Pro Bundle.
Plain Head Pro Bundle. I'm going to go ahead and drop the links to this. This is $5 not on sale. It's $4 on sale right now if you guys are interested. It's a handy tool. There's different materials and stuff in there as well, which I think is pretty nice.
Oh, and one trick, if anyone here owns this tool, yeah, it's only $5, so whatever. One thing is if you hold, which one is it? Control? No, Alt. If you hold Alt while you turn it, you're actually going to turn the light. Yeah, most people don't know that, but you can change the light angle if you want. And you're just rotating it on only one axis, unfortunately. It'd be nice if you could just like rotate the light on any axis, and then if you remove Alt and you just start dragging, then you rotate the head. Middle click, you can pan. And then left click, drag is turn. Oh, what if I Alt middle click? Am I moving? No, it's still turning.
It was worth a try.
It was. I was like, wait, can I pan the light? No, I can't.
We're testing.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so again, this is going to be us going into the Asaro head. This is not a direct 1-for-1 of things, and there are some different versions that you will see floating around. That's not a weakness for this. This is also just how you would use the techniques themselves.
Actually, I'm gonna draw
as the purpose of this whole live stream is, it's about taking the different techniques and kind of beating them up to your needs. So even if this is a little bit different than the Asaro head that you know, still useful. Try to nail down the lighting over there that you want.
I mean, it's not perfect. This is fake light. It's 3D light. Go ahead, ask me a question while I prep my next.
Okay.
Page.
All right. So there's 2. Do you want one about the Loomis method or a general question?
Let's start with the Loomis method since we're just coming out of that.
Okay. About the looking up pose, the bottom of the chin always throws me off because it does not follow the bottom plane of the imaginary box. Is there a way to orient how that angle goes?
It does. It follows the angle of the box because it's a front plane. but it is curved sometimes. So it's kind of like a curved line, but the angle of the curve is still the same. So I actually don't understand the question. I think
Ralph, this is your chance. You got to be so fast about it. Give me your follow-up, and then I'll ask the general question. All right. So they had asked, do you think it's better to practice the 3 methods and be good at it compared to being a master at using just one?
Before you answer that, let me just point out what I meant by that, though, is that like this angle of the chin is the same as this angle on the box, because it's the same angle. It's the bottom edge of the box, and it's parallel to the entire front plane of the box. So it goes to a vanishing point somewhere in the distance. But if I were to, let's say, draw a box, again, representing just the chin, let's say, like that's the chin, right? The chin is curved a little bit like that on most people. Again, everybody's proportions and shapes of their anatomy are different, but typically a chin will have a little bit of like skin and fat and all that sort of stuff on there that makes it curved. And so if you're seeing just this part of the curve, you might think, oh, it's pointing up this way instead. Or if you're seeing this part of the curve, it's going this way instead. And it's like sometimes you'll get a core shadow that doesn't get to this part, but the core shadow only lies on this part of the chin, and people will think that's the plane or the angle because the core shadow is doing that, and that can throw you off. So maybe that's what you're experiencing sometimes. But if you ignore the lighting and you look at the 3-dimensional forms around the area, there's gonna be a corner here, and then the other side of the corner of the chin is gonna be here, and the connection between those points is that angle, but the in between is curved. I don't know if that's helping you understand that a little better.
And so they said, maybe I phrased that wrong, but the front of the face and chin are not really a 90-degree angle. The jaw curves up somewhat. I always mess that up. So they didn't mean the front plane. They meant the side plane, is what I'm hearing.
Oh.
So basically, like where you cut in that.
Oh, box. You're talking about this plane. Oh, this plane here not being the same as this plane here, which is going straight back on a box. Yeah, that's true. So
yeah, I was thinking that they meant like that it might come in going from basically the area below the ear, then going into the jaw, and then the jaw descends down from the actual jawbone itself to the chin, and that angle not being a box. That's how I'm choosing to interpret this.
Yeah, maybe
they said, or rather, the underside of the chin.
The underside of the chin. Well, okay, so this is the plane I'm drawing. I'm drawing the underside of the chin. Let's say you have this box, right? So these on a box are parallel, right? But on a real jaw, they're not. On a real jaw, you're gonna get this, and then the chin is going to be much skinnier than this really wide face, and then this, right? And then from the chin, you're going to get a curve that maybe eventually hits this corner at the brow ridge. So maybe something like that is what you're trying to understand. Yeah. Hope that answers your question. It is. These are definitely not parallel to the box, but this is. So you just have to imagine like a center line and a tapered shape here, a trapezoid. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so now we're going to move into
because I guess the way I presented it, people could have assumed that it's literally the bottom of the jaw is a box, and no, it's not.
I mean, for some people that might be the case. So someone out there,
Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad's got a perfect box jaw.
All right, so now we're going into this modified version of Asaro.
Yeah, planes of the head. Let's just call it planes of the head.
Okay. I do have one question about this that we could get out here early on. This was Kapeep 5066. Would Asaro be relevant for studying values of the face or just how light interacts with it?
Well, that's the same thing, I think. The values of the face are based on the environment, the light that falls on it, and the material. So like the skin.
There's two ways to possibly read this question with the or they put in there. This could be them asking, is this relevant for studying values of the face and just how light interacts with it? Or you can read it as comparing those two things. I think that they're the same thing. So
I think they're the same thing too. So the values on the face are based on the form of the head. Or
yes, I would say that they're asking the question, is Asaro good for studying the
Yes, the answer is yes.
Light. Yeah. And then in the chat, Sajal had asked, isn't this just like a continuation of the Loomis method?
Exactly. Hey, look at that. It is. Absolutely. It's the Loomis method, but it's also a continuation of the Reilly rhythms. Did you guys see what I just did? This is a rhythm. You know, this is a rhythm of the top. You could say, hey, let's draw this rhythm across all the planes I'm seeing, right?
That's Loomis.
Well, no, I didn't. That's not Loomis. Loomis is start with a circle.
This is Reilly.
Chop off the sides. You know, like get my thirds. Where's the Loomis? I haven't done a ball at all.
Look at this. There's all these interrelated things. This is the Reilly method. Here.
Yeah. So it's wait. Why are you wait? What do you mean? That's not all three. This is not Loomis.
No, I'm just bringing up the idea of the different techniques all being interrelated.
So the thing that they all have in common is that they are all a head. And hey, surprise, the head has a very specific three-dimensional form that all of them follow. And so if I'm drawing this shape, you might say that's Reilly, you might say that's Loomis, you might say that's Asaro, based on what you are choosing to see in this moment. But they are all slightly different interpretations of the exact same thing. That's the whole point here, is that like you're not drawing different things. It's not like one method will get you one head and another method will get you a different head. They're all going to converge to the same head eventually, if you're using them correctly, right? Unless you just, you know, are making mistakes along the way. So I'm choosing to use a lot of rhythms as I'm putting this in. So I'm using a lot of Reilly in my kind of initial mapping and blocking in of the Asaro head, because I haven't gotten to the small planes yet. Kind of, right? Like I'm definitely using my rhythms to indicate three-dimensional form a lot more than what I was doing initially with this one. I went in with just like an oval, and then I was like trying to find these curves in here. None of that was like trying to get the 3D form right off the bat. It was more about trying to capture the rhythms I saw in the photo reference in that moment. This one, I am using rhythms as well, but I'm just capturing the overall head first, the three-dimensional forms of the head. Right
here, so at the start of this, there's one establishing question. Person had asked, are there any particular lines that you place first to help with angles? For this one, it seemed like you did something of an envelope first.
Kind of. I mean, the front of the head or the face right here is a really important one for me personally. Like getting that angle correct helps to identify the rest of it. Because if you just draw that straight down, that changes everything. So yeah, this one, and then kind of getting this like rounded part of the top was important. The proportions, width to height. Yeah, these were all important, and that's why I kind of started with this overall envelope.
And then this one might not be so finite with this. This could be observational. Tamara Kane asked, how do you decide where to divide the head and place that brow line?
This one, that was I just eyeballed it. I decided based on what my brain was telling me it should be. Yeah, it wasn't anything beyond that, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I will say, so Stan, right now we are 1 hour and 20 minutes into it. So we have 40 minutes. If we can, let's say, put no more than 20 minutes into Asaro and then go into the last 20 minutes for combining the three.
Sure.
Okay. Dana had also asked.
I'm starting to think of these planes. And the danger in this is you just like start copying lines instead of trying to understand the form. Because the thing that Asaro teaches you, or any simplification of planes teaches you, is how to interpret all of the organic mess that you can kind of like the confusing stuff that you're seeing on a photo or a head you look at. All of this is there. These plane changes are there. It's just that they're hidden by a lot of subtlety. And learning that they're there is the first step to seeing them on a photo. Does that make sense? It's kind of like learning anatomy. Once you learn what muscles are under the skin, you suddenly start seeing those muscles. But before that, you're just seeing like a bunch of nonsense shapes poking out. It's just a bunch of bumps along the contours. In the same way, once you know the planes, you start just seeing those planes all of a sudden, even though they're super subtle, and photos will just give you a little, like some clues occasionally of like, yeah, there's something there. You just get a little angle or a little highlight in the way it catches a corner of something, and you can see it. Pretty much every concept in art is like this. Color, a beginner painter will look at a scene and just see like a lot of browns and stuff. Like you look at a landscape and just like, yeah, the grass is green. It's all green. And then the sky is just blue. And then they literally just take like green and blue and they just like paint it that way. But you get an advanced oil painter and they're going to put in like 20 shades of green and like 50 shades of gray.
Yeah. I'm glad I was on your face for that one.
Wait, you knew I was going to do that? Oh no, you that was an accident.
I felt it.
You felt it. Yeah. Yeah, so the reason that an advanced artist will pick up on all those extremely subtle shifts in color is because they know what to look for. They've trained their eye to see it because they know it's there and they know exactly what to look for. And even just the slightest hint of a slightly different green somewhere is exaggerated in their head because they're like, where is it? Where is that change? And then they see a subtle hint of it, and then boom, they just like interpret it as being a more purpley green. All right. So I need to get into proportions a little bit more before I keep going. So the bottom of the nose. Ear.
A person in the chat here, this is another person online. They asked, what's the beef between the different methods, Reilly, Loomis, Asaro, and Barge? They said, what's the beef between them?
Beef?
There's no... See, we don't think there's a beef. We think you can use them all interchangeably to the purpose that you want. Other people, on the other hand, are going to make videos on YouTube that say, like, never use Loomis.
Yeah. Yeah, there is no beef. These are all tools. You should have all of them in your toolbox.
As you can tell, Stan is a big fan.
For you guys, that they all bring you to the same head. They're all just there to show you slightly different variations on the same thing, and you can use them however you want. And it is very helpful to train your brain to be able to use all of them because they all kind of help you see things in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like anything in art, don't think that because you learned this one new technique, it's going to solve everything for you. It's going to be a thing that you go back on sometimes. Say again?
It solves one thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
Each technique will solve one thing, and then all of them combined will solve a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting because I don't know about you, Stan, but I think it's this weird divide where people, they think that the different measuring techniques or in any number of techniques, that they think that if they learn this one, that this is either superior or that it will displace all the others. But there's no person out there who's like, I only draw in 1 point perspective, or I only draw in
Well, some
like
people do.
certainly there are some people who do it stylistically, but no one out there, like no one thinks that there's the one that's the end all be all and they will never need the others.
Right.
And I think it's an extension of the same thing.
Yeah.
All right.
But to point out the difference between, I guess, a rhythm and a plane change is, do you remember the rhythm I drew right here? Initially? This was more just showing the connection between this top portion and this bottom portion. And I ignored the literal outline of the plane changes. It helped me place it. And then as I was going down, I was like, oh yeah, well, this actually kind of goes back. And then I was relating it to the other side. And I was like, well, this corner needs to be with this corner. This corner needs to be with this corner. And I was relating them. And then eventually I got back to the chin. But this rhythm it took me, 2 seconds to draw. And it helped me place all these literal things. So the rhythms are there to help you get the other stuff in and to find the flow of the shapes. And so I definitely used Reilly to help me put in Asaro. If I didn't know about Reilly, I wouldn't have done that, right? Like, so there's another example of like knowing all of them is very helpful. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I could have started also with the Loomis head before putting Asaro, but I didn't in this one because that's obviously what I'm gonna do in the next demo.
Okay. All right. We've got some other questions here. None that I think are super, super deep at the moment. We got the question that's going to come up for the next 2 years, Stan. What will Stan's new course be?
Oh, I don't know. Like literally, that's actually the answer. I just don't know. Mm-hmm. I think it might be some workshops, some quick workshops. I don't know the subject of those workshops. What would you like it to be?
Yeah, leave things in the chat. What do you guys want Stan to teach you in workshops? So that's more one-on-one learning, so smaller group setting, and it wouldn't just be the recorded videos. This would be something that you could possibly participate in.
Right. So. Yeah, that would be the point of the workshops. Is it would be smaller. At least the participation seats would be limited in quantity, so you would get feedback, guaranteed feedback.
We have a question in here asking if you would do in-person workshops.
Nah, I don't know why I have this I don't like doing things in person anymore, or physical. I just like online so much. It's just such a it's so much better in so many ways, and I understand that there are reasons that in-person stuff is better. Mm-hmm. There's very big reasons why.
Yeah, as a person saying all of this as a person who taught in-person art classes for some time.
10 years. Yeah, or taught for 6 years. I understand the benefits. I went through a school that was in person, and I taught at a school that was in person, and it was amazing. But as far as running my business, this is what we're talking about now. I believe that I have a preference of how I like to run my business, and it's mostly digital stuff. I just like it better.
Yeah, I think that there's strengths and benefits, strengths and weaknesses to each of them. Obviously, if you were doing in-person live teaching, you get to have probably a model there, and there are clear benefits to that. But there are other benefits to doing the remote teaching that I think people
So,
don't take into account.
In-person workshops would naturally just have to be like 5 times more expensive for everybody.
Yeah.
It's you have to fly out, and it's less profitable on our side.
Well, also, like, so let's say
way more work
for the remote ones. A person in the middle of some other part of the world can still attend that, even if it's like 2 a.m. their time.
Right. It's more accessible. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it can be like 2 a.m.
A lot of reasons why I like to do things. It's more accessible. It's cheaper. I affect more people with my digital products than in-person products. It's more profitable. It's less effort to get the same amount of value to people. It's less risk. What else? There's probably so many other reasons, but those are the big ones. Like, think about the risk. Like, let's say we plan a thing. We're planning for 6 months. Everyone's got their flight tickets. They got their hotels booked, and then I get sick.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, that could happen. Like, what? Okay, well, then what? If it was a digital thing, we can reschedule, or I could just like work my way through it still because I'm just alone in my studio still. I'm not getting everybody else sick or whatever it is. Like, it's a lot easier to mitigate that.
I think what would happen in that situation is we would just have Patrick teach it.
Well, whatever. Yeah, sure. But no, I mean, if people pay for a specific teacher, like, they kind of want that teacher, but
you'll still be there every once in a while. You'll come in and say like, "Oh no, that looks great, Patrick. Keep it up." All right, so here in this modified Asaro, you've done a few more things since the last time we addressed it. What do you think are the most important parts that you've established so far?
I'm just putting in all of the little plane changes that the Loomis head doesn't cover, right? So on the nose itself, we have basically the front plane, or the top plane, you can think of it, the side plane, and the bottom plane. And then you do also have a little plane in the front that a lot of people miss. And this is an important one. And it's this little step right here in between. So if I was to draw that from the side, like a profile angle, you have the bridge of the nose, right? And then you have the bottom of the nose. But then there is a front plane right here. And that's what this front plane captures. And it typically does kind of, I mean, obviously there's different shapes of noses. You'll get much rounder noses. This is much more European. But this plane can be widened and kind of rounded off. But the taper is typically there. Like, it's going to be wider at the top and taper down towards the septum. And it gets narrower through here. So that you could remember. And then the proportions of it will obviously change. But yeah, and then the lips, the thing to remember is the stair step effect. So this is a facing up, and if you look at as I'm going through it here, look at it on the 3D reference and look at the light pattern. The top lip is facing up, so it's getting hit by light. Then the actual lip, the red part of the top lip, is facing down, so it's shadow. Then this top plane of the bottom lip is facing up again, so it's getting hit by light. Then the bottom of the bottom lip facing down. Then the top of the chin facing up. Front plane or bottom plane of the chin facing a little bit more down than the top plane. So you get the stair step back and forth. And those are the big plane changes. That's what Asaro captures, is more of the top-down plane changes, not really the kind of the tuna can effect of the tooth cylinder. Right? If you think about your teeth, they kind of wrap around, right? They're not a flat plane, and that wrapping around, you get a little bit of that bloating on your actual lips. This front is out forward more than the corners, which are back more into the head. But Asaro captures. The planes are capturing more of just this top-down plane changes. And then you do get this, you see this big shape right here? That is kind of the hey, it's starting to turn back through these areas. And then in here, it's going back a lot more. Okay, how much time we got? 20 minutes.
We're pretty much hitting it. Yeah. I wasn't sure we were.
What's that?
I wasn't sure we were going to get there. I thought we were going to go over a little bit. All right, so
you think I was going to do this slow?
Absolutely.
No, it's the next one that might actually be slower.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to discuss it throughout continuously. So
yeah, but actually, I'm a way more warmed up. You know how much faster I draw when I'm warmed up.
This is true.
It's very true. Like when I'm not warmed up, I'm making 10 times more mistakes, and I'm drawing 10 times slower.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You guys like that?
I think that's just everybody.
Is it everybody? Because I feel like
except for like maybe like two
down and just like bam. It's like what? How are you already in it?
That's got to be the exception to the rule, right?
I guess so. No, you're probably right.
Because like there's no way that these other people come in with the combination of being mentally there and physically there as well.
Yeah.
So I just want to bring up here right before we do this thing, where we're going to combine all three of these techniques that we've been talking about. Part of the reason that we're here is because everything on Proko is 20% off. Please go check it out. There's a summer sale happening. It runs until the beginning of next month. You can save a whole bunch on courses, tools, that's brushes, brush packs, reference packs, things of that nature. Save money while you can. This doesn't happen all that often. But thanks for joining us here, watching for free on YouTube, no matter what.
This is all. I don't.
You're grabbing references.
How this works? Yeah, I'm looking through references. Sorry. But
okay.
Not in the
I'll go ahead and continue talking about things then. So you can save on things like, if I bring this up on my end, boop. All right, you can save on things like that, the 3D model tool that we used earlier. So there's that Plane Head Pro bundle. As you can see, there's a different material than what Stain had shown earlier. I think the different materials are interesting. On the website, you can also get different things like the reference packs, the tools, the brushes. There's I have a nudity here. I gotta get out of that because I'm logged in. So yeah, you can save on things like the different brushes that are out there. There's been updated brush packs from Lane Brown, among others. I recommend saving while you can, guys. Get my screen out of here so I'm not putting boobs and butts on screen here on YouTube.
All
right, so you're searching through some reference. How does this one seem for you?
I think it's fine. There's a lot of things I like about it. You can go side by side. There you go. Thank you. There's a lot of things I like about it, and then but the lips, I wish they just weren't like that, so I could actually draw like normal lips. But there's a lot I like about it, so let's just go with it. Because look at his cheekbones and the planes that you could see on the jaw. Like it's so much closer to like Asaro than like if I chose. There was another one that I was looking at, like the older man. He's got a lot of rhythms. You can see a lot of rhythms, and they're beautiful while still having a lot of those structural elements shown through. But this one just like, I just feel like it's gonna go super smooth.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. So this will be combining the three. So
yeah,
there'll be some qualities.
And this is more of like how I combine the three. Typically, I don't have like one single approach, but typically more like maybe like 6 times out of 10, I will have one single approach. With this one, so I'm going to start with the Reilly rhythms of the big shapes and then switch to Loomis, then go back to Reilly and then Asaro. So I'm literally just kind of going to combine a bunch of them. So rhythms, I'm going to say, okay, top of the head, flowing this way, bottom plane or bottom angle this way. That's about right. Maybe there, like that. There. Then, ooh. So, my brain was telling me chin should go up. And then I looked at it and was like, does it go up? No, it doesn't. No, chin is straight across. You see that? Crazy. My brain almost lied to me. And then I'm gonna look for this guitar pick shape, and this is a pretty big one for Reilly. Is this like rhythm across the back of the head all the way through to the chin, and that's why it's a rhythm and not just like a plane. Is because it's just a swooping line that captures the big shape of this whole thing. So this basically, I just drew 3 lines, no 4, because I intentionally put the chin as a line here, so to remind myself that it does not go up the way that my brain is trying to get it. So kind of, but you could have this just kind of sweeping through as one single shape. All right, so there's like a gestural rhythm Reilly guitar pick shape. Then I could have a few more rhythms just to kind of help me set up before I go into Loomis. Like, look at it's already kind of Loomisy, but now let's actually literally put a really light circle. And sorry if you guys can't see it very well. I just don't want to draw this super dark. None of the lines in here are actually gonna make it to the end. And then there's the little ellipse. And then from the ear over, across, bottom of the ear, nose. Another rhythm going up. And you can see this plane change in here, kind of going into his lip. And then it turns and you can go up the cheekbone. There's a nice core shadow along there. And that leads you into the ear. The jaw right there. Any questions?
Any questions? There are. I think you describing your process on combining these might be more useful than going into some of the questions that I have.
Yeah. Sometimes getting the neck and shoulders is really useful. Like in this case, because it's not a traditional, like, yeah, the neck is under the chin and the shoulders will be all the way down there. Like, this is a top down. We're looking down at him a little bit. And by putting the shoulder all the way up here, it really kind of helps me as I'm drawing it imagine that I'm looking down. But also, like, eventually the viewer will be able to imagine it even better because of the placement of the shoulders. All right.
Do you think that you favor any one of the techniques? I know that you're pretty well known on YouTube for Loomis, but
yeah. Ah, man, it's hard. I mean, favor in what way? Like while I'm drawing?
Like so let's say if someone gave you the task of combining the 3 techniques that we're discussing here, which do you think that you're going to use most heavily automatically?
Bits of Reilly while thinking of 3D.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, Loomis. I only use Loomis for the head.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're talking about drawing anything, then no, Reilly. It's Reilly. Reilly's everywhere. The rhythms are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what I'm drawing, I'm thinking of rhythms. It's a really big part of my thought process. Whereas if I'm drawing the portrait, Then yeah, Loomis comes in, and then Asaro head comes in. Not like I'm
Mhm.
thinking of Asaro while I'm drawing an arm, but I'm definitely thinking Reilly rhythms.
This arm sorrow.
I'm sorry, yeah. So like, so if I were to pick one that I had to just keep, and the other ones I had to forget, I would keep Reilly
Okay.
because
Yeah,
it's just universal.
you do like rhythms. You have a couple different videos here on the channel. People might have seen before. It's the what is it like the how to draw difficult poses or how to draw any pose.
Uh-huh.
And then you talk specifically about rhythms in there.
Yeah. So I've already done Reilly and Loomis, right? Loomis is pretty much done at this point. Like I did this. I already got my brow in based on this oval. I got this in. I attached the jaw. Loomis is done. So now we're working with Reilly and slowly making our way into Asaro, the smaller planes. So let's go in here and start drawing the rhythms like of the brow. It comes down a little more, right? Because this rhythm I had in here originally is just kind of like that was the Loomis rhythm. That was just the one that's kind of a rubber band across the head.
Mhm.
Now I'm looking at his actual eyebrow shape, and that's a different rhythm. That one is coming down from the corner and then back up, and it's giving me a more of this expression. And remember how I said that like at the corner of the turn of the eyebrow is where that ellipse is going to be? It's not always the corner. A lot of times it's the end. So in this case, I know that because of the actual light. So really, I guess what I really said was like, it depends. You got to interpret it.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping, because I think that's the thing that it falls back on. I kind of set you up to give an answer that was intentionally reframing the entire video, or like stating the entire video, because you don't favor one technique. You know, like yes, some things are available in more contexts, but Loomis is something that you use exclusively for the head.
Yeah. I don't favor them when I draw the head because they're all super important. And also, if you think about Loomis as not just the literal volumes for the head, but just generally the idea that any organic form can be simplified into very basic primitives. If that's what you pick out from Loomis, then that could be applied to anything, and that's extremely valuable. And then if you think of Asaro as several degrees of complexity in planes, and you could build up to it, like primary forms is Loomis, and then secondary forms is Asaro, then that's also applied to anything. And if you learn it well with the head as your reference, that's great because then you could apply it to any other reference, just the general concepts, right? Like rhythms are your flow through the forms. Loomis is simplifying any form into basic primitives. And then Asaro is then also being able to add the secondary forms on top of that primary form. Like those simple concepts are universally very useful to draw whatever you want. And that's really what we're learning when we're studying these techniques. It's not the exact diagram. Like I know people like to pass around the Reilly diagram that we've been showing, and you know you memorize those lines. Like honestly, I never really even tried to memorize those lines. I use a few of them, and then the other ones, like from the very beginning, I tried a bunch of them. I was like, this sucks. Like, why is that line wrapping around the corner of the lips? Like that's so weird. And I never used it. I would just I just kind of learned the general concept of rhythms. You connect things together. And then you just like do that based on the reference, based on the thing you're drawing, and then it's like actually extremely useful concept. All right, let's go back to I'm just like doing shape design here. Let's go back to designing the planes of this the cheekbone. So we know that in here let me bring back this.
Would you say, all right, so as we're going through it, let's go ahead and say what's the technique mostly being utilized in this moment?
In this moment, I'm going to be doing Asaro right now because I already did a lot of my rhythms through here. And actually, let me just get one more rhythm and then there. Just kind of
one more rhythm as a treat.
boom. And then now let's go through and get the planes. So Asaro. And then, so we know with this cheek, I already kind of established the corner right here. And I know that I have to find the same corner somewhere right here. Or not somewhere, literally right here. It has to be like symmetrical. Because he seems like a symmetrical guy, right? Like it's not like I'm seeing any crazy obvious asymmetries. If I did, then I would intentionally look for that and be like, okay, well, this is not, something's up with that cheekbone, but it's not. I'm not seeing asymmetries. I'm going to try to draw that angle parallel to the chin. Everything in here is going to be this horizontal. See, even the hairline up here. Everything, because it's following the box. And then flow in. And then down. Go. So now it's starting to look a little more three-dimensional. We're getting literal plane changes. This plane right here, same thing. This is the downward plane. And then it goes up and then back down a little bit more. And then this is great. Like it's actually not very common where you're going to see such an obvious plane change of right here. Do you guys see this one? That was on the planes of the head. You get this little triangle in the jaw to the cheekbone. So this is the cheekbone. It's a little different because of his specific type and what he's kind of pushing his lips forward, right? And so this is pushed out a little more. But if he was not doing that, then this might actually soften out and I would have gotten a triangle. But in this case, I'm manipulating it to be more like this, and we're getting this shape. And then that switches to more of an upward angle. So the planes change this way. Can you see these lines? It's this and this.
Those light lines, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
At least I can. I don't know about other people's displays or anything, but those are visible to me.
All right. So that was a lot of the kind of the face planes that I think about for Asaro. Those are like the really important ones that I'm just like, that are ingrained in my head of like, try to look for this. If you see structure, if you see indications of the skull on this person's face, look for this stuff, right? Well, this is muscle. This corner is mostly because of the muscle there, but a lot of this in here is bone. If you see the skull, it's this. If somebody is very like super wrinkly and has more fat mass on the face, then yeah, it'll be hidden a lot more. But he is very lean. You can see bone, and it's super obvious all these planes on him. Mm-hmm. When you have more wrinkles and fat mass, then you get even more Reilly in that case. They all kind of flow, and gravity takes hold, and they all flow downwards.
Yeah, then you start kind of getting in the principles of drapery.
Well, skin is drapery, so yes, skin is drapery.
Which I'm happy to say we have a brand new course with Stephen Michael Hampton about. You can save 20% on it at proko.com/drapery.
Nice. Oh, for planes of the nose. So his nose is pointing down. It's the opposite of what we had. What is it called? Freerin? What is it?
Yep. Yeah, you nailed it. Good job.
Which one is it?
What? Freerin. Yeah.
Freerin. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, you nailed it.
It's the opposite. Now the tip of the nose isn't up here. We're looking down at him. So now it's down here. It's doing the opposite because it's the opposite angle. And so this line that I put down, that's where the nose connects to the face. It's not the tip of the nose. So if it connects to the face here, then the bottom plane is going to bring us out around there. And then we have the bridge of the nose.
And do you think that this is any particular technique right now?
This is mostly. I'm thinking of the planes. So these are the smaller planes of the Asaro head.
And again,
So
some of
remember I was
these.
talking about like the bridge. This is the top one plane. Like yeah, look at it. Like this is like I'm drawing almost the same nose. It's just at a different angle. We're not seeing any of this bottom stuff anymore. But it's the same planes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's mostly the bridge is covering up, and all that other stuff is underneath.
I feel like it goes straight out more.
Yeah, it does. I totally botched that one. I feel like I might have actually just turned it a little differently.
Well, now you nailed it. Now it's done.
Now it's
Now it's
perfect.
fixed.
Let me modify that.
And then if you were going to check this, are you using any sort of like observational techniques or anything for that?
Angles.
Mm-hmm.
Negative shapes. Like right now, I was looking at this negative shape in here. And so this triangle that's being created by this angle compared to these angles. And I'm trying to get that right.
Yeah. Those things, they'll do wonders for you guys. Okay, there's one question from earlier. A person was asking, with these three methods, do you got to be heavy on anatomy? Like, do you have to know anatomy?
No. Anatomy helps if you study anatomy and then forget about it. So you make it intuitive while you're kind of mapping it in. But if you're trying to like draw the anatomical shapes of the nose, while you're drawing the simple forms, you might actually get kind of distracted by all the details. So kind of like how Morgan Weisling was talking about, if you're distracted by rhythms, you might hurt your foot proportions or accuracy. It's the same thing. So like I guess literally if you're talking about this step of the process, anatomy is only good as like a way for you to look for clues of what's going on. Like I know the anatomy of the cheekbone and the muscle here, and I can imagine that stuff underneath, and that could help me find the plane changes based on that. But I'm primarily simplifying. And if I tried to draw the anatomy, that would get in the way. So I hope it makes sense. There's like a balance there of trying to get into the right mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
Yeah. So there are some planes in here of like so let's say the bottom of the lip is right here, right? And then I could say, well, actually it's higher up. And then I could say bottom plane kind of wraps around like this. And I'm seeing a little bit of a bottom plane. You see a shadow right here? This is the plane that I'm seeing created by that. And then the actual lip comes up. You got the corners of the lips. I don't know if I'm going to capture the expression. I'm just drawing the plane changes. Probably won't capture the expression. You have to draw a lot of like the wrinkles and all that stuff in there for the expression.
It just takes more work. Yeah. There's
other indicators. I'm drawing such simplified plane changes that the expression is probably going to be lost. But that's okay. I'm doing it understanding that I'm teaching a concept.
Yeah, so Stan, why doesn't this guy look mad? Come on. Are you bad at drawing?
All right, so there's your kind of stair step. Top plane, bottom plane, top plane, bottom plane, and then for the chin, I don't see a crazy top plane for him. I'm seeing it more just kind of tapering down like this, and then I do kind of see a plane change right there. But let's make sure his chin looks chiseled.
Okay, I agree. All right, this person in the chat, they said, okay, oh man, I'm seeing Squidward with this. And
Yes,
for a second,
I also see Squidward. It's because of what I did here. You have a handsome Squidward, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's totally this. It's the way the chin is kind of. Yeah, I was seeing it too. I didn't want to say it. Oh. But guys, keep in mind that if I was actually drawing this in order to like shade it later, a lot like all of these lines would be very light. I'm doing this dark so you could see it, but a lot of this would disappear after I start putting the tones down. And I know I'm not going to shade this, so I'm just drawing the lines super dark. So don't try to like mimic this exact process. Or the process, yes, but not the exact like how dark I'm putting it in. This is not a block in. This is like a final drawing to show rhythms and planes.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of block-ins, what is with this Bauman technique erasure? Why haven't you shown his technique?
Well, what's his technique? Isn't it
I don't know.
Of all this stuff?
I think it's. I think it is. It's he DM'd you about it as well.
What do you mean?
He DM'd. He said you got to show the Bauman technique. No, this was earlier this morning. He said you got to show the Bauman head.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I guess I got to talk to him about like what that means. What is a Bauman head?
I sent him a picture of his own head back, and I said, "Looks fine."
Yeah. I mean, I love his drawings. Let me see.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, without a doubt.
I have this. Oh, you can go back to the table thing. I have this like in front of me all the time. This is there you go. It's like his he did a demo, I guess, for some class probably, showing how like the forms under the skin show through in a very subtle way, which is kind of what I was just showing here, but just without, not shading. But like the cheekbone in here, the brow ridge here, that's all of these forms. They're just poking through, right? Obviously the whole Loomis head up here, that's just the cranium. All these planes of the jaw, like this is all based on the skull. And if you learn the forms, then you can learn to subtly show them with your shading. So you know what all that subtle, all those subtle halftones are actually there for.
Mm-hmm.
It does help to know what they are in order to correctly interpret them and even design them.
Someone did bring up in here, and yeah, I agree. So the technical, the name that he refers to it with is like the hybrid block-in method.
Yeah.
And so I'm not the most familiar with the specifics of it, but like you said, it's a combination of things.
I guess I never studied with him, so I don't like. This is my way of combining all these methods. This is the way I studied, and this is the way I draw. Mm-hmm. So, like, sorry, Bauman, I didn't take your class, bro.
So, well, I mean, the good news is, at some point in time, like a bunch of his classes are, on Proko. There's some there right now. So,
yeah,
maybe you, like the other students that are here today, could get Stephen Bauman's course for 20% off on Proko.com during our summer sale.
Yeah, but I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and it's the same concepts, just like put together in his way, right? It's still it's either rhythms or planes, and then a little bit of anatomical understanding of what makes those rhythms and planes.
Mm-hmm.
But he uses a lot of value. So his way of revealing the forms are through plane changes instead of lines, or maybe plane changes and lines. All right, I'm at this. After this, I probably would jump into details and shading and stuff. I think it would be inaccurate for me to just keep chopping away at it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, guys.
I get you.
Like this hair.
Yeah.
Let me just put the hair in because it always looks wrong unless I put the actual shapes that are there.
These are those finishing touches that you give yourself as a special little treat.
Yeah. But I want to simplify this as well.
It looks like what's it? Thomas Shelby? I forget his first name.
Yeah, Shelby. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was just thinking about the same thing. Because it's his haircut.
Yeah. Can we say swears in this? Can we?
I mean,
yeah. I just imagine you like discussing the techniques and with saying bad words with his accent.
Do it.
No, now I'm embarrassed.
Okay, well, you brought it up. You asked me if you could. Okay.
I will say, Stan, this looks nothing like the reference at this point. Like if you,
yeah. Yeah, look at it. It's totally like this straight line down, right? This right here captures how he's got I can't point at him, but he's got very, very straight vertical kind of area around his lips, and then his chin jets forward. And it's like, well, as soon as I put these lines in, it was like, oh.
Yeah, once it rounded the thing. Yeah. But yeah, so all right. Is there anything that you want to say about combining methods? Like a person who wants to only use one, or anything that you want to say to people about these different methods that you've discussed here so far?
I guess you're asking for closing thoughts.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I guess closing thoughts. Basically, the whole point of this is don't try to figure out the best method. Learn bits and pieces of all the methods and try to understand what the methods are teaching you. Like the secret stuff they're teaching you, the stuff that isn't obviously on the surface. If you look at the Reilly rhythm diagram, the whole point of it isn't to memorize those rhythms. It's to understand the concept of rhythms and why Reilly came up with them in the first place, right? Like it's to find relationships between anything, between shapes, between anatomical landmarks, whatever, in your reference, and put them down super quickly, gesturally. Right? I showed you. You put this. Oh, well, you can't see it, but the side plane. You can put that down as a rhythm in 1 second. But the planes there are obviously a lot more complicated. And if you draw the planes, it'll take you like 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. So finding connections. That's the whole point of Reilly rhythms. It's not to memorize the ones that he drew, the one that like twirls around the corner of the lip, makes no sense. But the concept, and then be able to use it for anything. Asaro is teaching you to look for plane changes, not organic, like worm-like things all over the place that lose structure. That helps you solidify the kind of the micro perspective stuff in there, right? Like the plane of the nose has perspective, even though we don't think about it in that way. Like, oh yeah, it goes to vanishing points. We don't think about that, but it's those little planes have to be in perspective in the way you even put like the core shadow on them or that halftone shape you draw. Try to make those angles be with the perspective of the front plane. If you're drawing the plane, if you're drawing the cheekbones, try to think about the perspective of the cheekbones, and those halftones should follow that, right? Thinking about them as planes automatically makes you have to imagine 3D forms in perspective. And you can apply that to anything. Loomis, super hyper simplifications of complicated shapes. Cranium, jaw, right? Like that's, and then you just try to imagine that in any angle. It's a lot easier to imagine those two forms in any angle than it is to imagine, you know, Asaro or Reilly, because there's just so much stuff there. So yeah, all of these are concepts that you can learn to then apply to anything in your own combination of ways. You saw me combine them all in the way I typically do. Hopefully some of that resonates with you and you can pick up some of it to your own techniques.
All right.
That was the whole point of this.
Thank you guys for being here. We will have another live stream tomorrow. I believe tomorrow's is with Stephen Michael Hampton, the person covering the drapery that I was talking about. I'll ask him about drapery applying to old people's skin. So I'll see you guys there. Stan, what do you want people to go do today? Do you want them to go draw anything in particular? Give them an assignment. That's what you do. You're a teacher.
An assignment? I guess the best thing to do is start looking at whichever of these three methods you have the least experience in. Go figure out what is it all about. Try to research it and then try to actually draw something focused on that one method, and then try to use some of that in whatever method you already have. Try to add it in. You don't need to switch completely to just doing Asaro or just doing rhythms. You already probably have something you do, a process you follow. Just try to add a little bit of it into your process and see if it helps. And like a bunch that you do are going to suck. Like, just remember that whenever you learn something new, you have to actually practice to get good at it, to actually understand it and have rhythms and planes be a thing that's like part of your way of thinking. You develop it. So don't get discouraged if like you do one and it doesn't work. Again, these are tools they have to learn how to use, not a method that solves problems for you. So pick one of these that you have least experience with and start learning how to use the tool.
All right. I think it's a great one. Stan, will you do me a favor? Will you look towards the reference monitor and give me a nice big grin? All right, so there you go. The one up, your reference monitor with the reference on it.
Oh, you're gonna.
There we go. Thank you so much.
What?